Kenya is 10 time zones from Seattle. We overnight in London before continuing our flight to Nairobi. We were here 30 years ago. As the song by the Birds says, we were so much younger then, we're older then than now. After a short night in Nairobi, we're back in the air, headed to Lewa and a start of our adventures in Kenya. We're on approach to Lewa Downs Airstrip. The Lewa Wildlife Conservancy is 120 miles north of Nairobi. Our guides are here to meet us and take us to our home for the next 3 nights. The Lewa Safari Camp. I think we can do just fine here. Before we hit the bush tracks for some wildlife viewing, a little history of this place. Established as a cattle ranch in 1922, Lewa Downs was different in that wildlife was valued and wildlife tourism was developed as an additional activity. Now we can visit the rhinos that Lewa is famous for. By the early 1980s, it was uncertain if any black rhino would survive in Kenya. Poaching for horn had reduced Kenya's rhinos from 20,000 in the mid-70s to a few hundred by 1986. In 1983, the Craigs, owners of Lewa Downs, and Mrs. Anna Mers, a conservationist who provided funding, established Nagari Sergoi Rhino Sanctuary at the western end of Lewa Downs. The sanctuary was fenced and guarded and stocked with rhinos from other reserves and isolated individuals from northern Kenya. The program was a success, and in 10 years the rhinos needed more space. The sanctuary was expanded to cover the rest of the ranch and the adjoining Nagiri Nadari Forest Reserve, and the Lewa Conservancy was born. By 2010, 13% of Kenya's rhino population lived in Lewa. We learned to recognize black rhino from white rhino. If there's a group, it's probably white rhino because they're more social. That doesn't mean they're warm and friendly. If you get up close, black rhinos have a pointed lip. White rhinos have a wide, flat mouth. In fact, white is a misunderstanding of the Afrikaans word wit, meaning wide. We met Sonia, a 28-year-old female with an unusual horn. She's had 5 calves, and none have a horn like hers. She is truly unique. If it weren't for this sanctuary, Sonia would have been a prime poacher target. Instead, she's raised the next generation of black rhino in Kenya. It's really great to see this many rhinos going about their rhino business in this beautiful place. Rhinos aren't all there is to see in Lewa. The giraffes at Lewa are reticulated giraffes, also called the Somali giraffe. It's a subspecies unique to Somalia, southern Ethiopia, and northern Kenya. There are estimated to be about 8,500 reticulated giraffes living in the wild. They're currently listed as vulnerable. It always amazes me to watch them pick the tender leaves from the thorns on the acacia trees. The elephants also seem happy pruning the acacia trees. And there are quite a few little ones too. Another cranky, visually challenged large mammal in Lewa is the African buffalo. They squint at us, but we don't want to get too close to these large and unpredictable beasts. Lewa boasts the largest herd of Grevy zebra in the world. They're unmistakable with their pinstripes and Mickey Mouse ears. It's the largest of the 3 species of zebra. It's also the most endangered. Giraffes zebra live mainly in northern Kenya, with a few isolated populations in Ethiopia. Civil war in Somalia, Djibouti, and Sudan have exterminated the zebra in these parts of the historical range. It's estimated that there are less than 2,500 Giraffes living in the wild. But the good news, Giraffes zebras are thriving in Lewa. We watched this group enthusiastically enjoying a dust bath. The herd was started by 70 animals who migrated to Lewa Downs in the 1970s at a time of heavy poaching for their skins. Today's herd numbers over 300, or about 11% of the global wild population. The antelope species are well represented in Lewa, from the largest, the eland, with bulls weighing up to 2,000 pounds, to the tiny dik-dik, weighing in at about 11 pounds and standing 12 inches at the shoulder. On the large size, there's also the handsome oryx. Judging from the number of calves, they're thriving here in Lewa also. For mid-size antelope, there's the Grant's gazelle and the impala, found throughout southern and eastern Africa. So with all these zebra and antelope, you'd expect to see the large cats, and you wouldn't be wrong. We watched these cheetah brothers out hunting. Lions have their niche in Lewa also. This pride of lions has killed a bull eland in the night. They've eaten their fill and are resting now. Hunting and eating are hard work. The junior members of the pride now get a chance to finish the meal. What about birds, you ask? Well, I've saved the best till last, but some may argue with that point. Kenya is home to over 1,000 species of birds. The varied ecosystems of Lewa, from forests to grasslands, provide homes for more than 350 bird species. The largest bird of Lewa's grasslands is the Somali ostrich. The neck of the male during mating season is bright blue. The females are slightly larger than the males, but with dull brown plumage. The gray-crowned crane is the national bird of Uganda. Small raptors cruise the skies looking for small rodents. The secretary bird stalks the grasslands looking for snakes. The grasslands are home to bustards, sand grouse, and spurfowl. Of the perching birds of Lewa, the lilac-breasted roller and the superb starling are the most outrageously colored. The fiscal shrike reminds me of an accountant in a gray suit and a white shirt. The yellow-throated longclaw is aptly named. And sparrows have a niche here too. Butterflies are a favorite food for grassland birds. In the woodlands of Lewa, we find birds with intriguing names like go-away, mousebird, hornbill, and hoopoe. In the mornings at Lewa, we wake to the cooing of doves. And the scrubby trees and bushes are filled with the nattering of all kinds of small birds. Also in the woodlands, you can't help but see the mischievous vervet monkeys. A surprise in the Lewa was the environments for water-loving birds. There are small ponds and marshes in the woodland where ducks, egrets, and ibis make a home. Our bush breakfast stop one morning was overlooking a man-made lake dating back to Lewa's cattle ranching days. Now it's the home to an interesting mix of birds. A flock of terns were fishing the surface of the lake. One appeared to catch a baby crocodile. We got another surprise when two hippos suddenly surfaced in the middle of the lake. So what will we be remembering about our time in Lewa? Of course, at the top of the list will be the rhinos and the zebras. But also right up there on the list is the great food and the friendly people. And the place itself makes my list, with its beautiful landscapes and the colorful sunrises and sunsets.